Hi, in the last video I talked about how do we find standard deviation by hand and by calculator, and I discussed both if the data are raw or individual basis or on group data, and the next is if the data is grouped, then how do we find out the standard deviation and variance of a data set, right? So the next thing we want to discuss is the Chebyshev's theorem. So let us discuss some basic stuff and then I will jump on the Chebyshev's theorem on that, okay? Let us consider a data set 9, 10, 14, 7, 8, 3. So if you enter this in your calculator and if you find out the so how do you enter that in calculator? You go to the stat, right, and then edit and then hit enter, press enter, and then you will see L1, L2, L3, all those kind of things. And in L1, or you can do in L2 or L3, it doesn't matter. So you just enter those data, 9 and then hit enter, and then 10 and hit enter, and then 14 and hit enter, and so on. You do that. After you enter the data, you go to the stat, right, and then calc, right, and then one variable statistic, right, one variable statistic. If you do that and then hit enter, then it will give you x bar is 8.5 and standard deviation S is 3.6. By the way, when you do the stat calc one variable stat, if you're using TI-83, okay, then if the data is entered in L1, that will be okay, and then hit enter will be okay. But if you have entered the data in L2, then you may have to do curly braces and L2. How do you pick L2? Is alpha and then 2 will pick L2, okay? But if you're using TI-84 or TI-84 plus, it will give you X list must be in L1 wherever you enter the data. If you enter the data in L1, then X list should be picked in L1. If you enter the data in L2, then X list should be picked L2. But the way to pick L1 and L2 is the same. Alpha 1 is L1, alpha 2 is L2, alpha 3 is L3, and so on. Okay, guys? All right. So from the data you find out X bar and S. Let us suppose let us say that we got I mean, actually you will get that X bar is 8.5 and standard deviation is 3.6, sample standard deviation. Okay, now how do you find an interval around 8.5? How do you find an interval around the mean that is within a unit distance? So 8.5 is a mean, right? So you want to find an interval around 1 unit distance from 8.5. How much below do you go? How far above do you go? How far below do you go? This is like a center, okay? Since it says 1 unit around, that means you go 1 unit below 8.5 and 1 unit above 8.5. That will be X bar minus 1, X bar plus 1, which will be 7.5 through 9.5. So this is an interval that is around 1 unit from the mean 8.5. Okay. Similarly, if you want to find out within 2 unit distance, that means around 2 units from the mean, then that will be X bar minus 2 and X bar plus 2. If you do subtract 2 from 8.5, you'll get 6.5. And if you add 2 from 8.5, that will be 10.5, and so on. Now let us see this. An interval within 1 standard deviation. What is the standard deviation? Is 3.6. Okay. An interval within 1 standard deviation distance from the mean is X bar minus S. Similar concept. Okay. But instead of saying 1 unit, 2 unit, we are saying 1 standard deviation, 2 standard deviation, and so on. Is X bar minus S and X bar plus S. This is 1 standard deviation, or within 1 standard deviation from around X bar. Okay, within 1 standard deviation around X bar is X bar minus S, X bar plus S, or you can say 1S, which will be 4.9, 12.1. If you subtract 3.6 from 8.5, that's what you get. And if you add 3.6 from to 8.5, that's what you will get, 12.1. Similarly, an interval within 2 standard deviation around the mean is x bar minus 2s, x bar plus 2s, and if you plug in the value of s and x bar, that's what you will get, 1.3 through 15.7. Okay, the interval of data within k standard deviation, instead of saying 1, 2, let us say k standard deviation from the mean, will be x bar minus k times s and x bar plus k times s, where k is a number of standard deviation. Okay, I say number of standard deviation. Okay, where k is the number of standard deviation. If you say 1 standard deviation, it will be 1 times s, 2 standard deviation, 2 times s, 3 standard deviation, 3 times s on both places. Okay, guys. Now let us talk the Chebyshev's theorem. Okay, what does it say? Is the proportion or the percentage of values, that means the data values from any data set that will fall within k standard deviation from the mean is, that is x bar minus ks, x bar plus ks will be at least 1 minus 1 over k square, where k is a number greater than 1. What does that mean? That means if you want to find what percentage of the data fall within the interval x bar minus ks and x bar plus ks, then the formula is 1 minus 1 over k square. In other words, if you want to know what percentage of the data fall within k standard deviation from the mean, k is a number, okay? If you want to know what percentage of the data fall within the k standard deviation from mean, then the formula to find out that percentage is 1 minus 1 over k square. Okay, so to find out the percentage, we use 1 minus 1 over k square formula, and if you want to find out the interval or the range, then we use x bar minus ks and then comma x bar plus ks. That is the formula that you use if you want to find out the interval or the range. Okay, guys, let us see some examples. So what is the find the minimum percentage of the data that lies within 2, 3 and 4 standard deviation? Actually there are 3 questions. Okay, so for any data set you want to know what is the minimum percentage of the data that falls within 2 standard deviation. The formula is 1 minus 1 over k square, right? For k equals to 2, it will be 1 minus 1 over k square will be 1 minus 1 over 4. 2 square is 4, right? That is 75%. That means for any data set, at least 75% of the data lies within the 2 standard deviation from the mean. That's what it is saying. Okay, if you want to find out the 3 standard deviation, what percentage of the data falls within 3 standard deviation from the mean will be 1 minus 1 over k square, that will be 1 minus 1 over 9, so 88.89%. Similarly for k equals to 4, it will be 93.75%. That is at least that percentage of the data falls within 2, 3 and 4 standard deviation from the mean. So note that you cannot check for k equals to 1. Why? Because the theorem says k must be greater than 1. You can say 1.5, 1.1 like that, but don't take k less than or equals to 1. This formula does not work in that case. Okay, alright, let us do example number 6. In example 6, it says the mean price of house in a certain neighborhood is 50,000. What is given? X bar is 50,000. It is given, and the standard deviation is 10,000. It is also given. S is 10,000. This is also given. Okay, find the price range for which at least 75% of the house will sell. So what is given? The percentage is given, right? So the percentage is equals to 75%. That is same as 0.75. Okay, so what you need to find out is you want to find out the price range. You need to find out the interval for this. So to find out the interval, what is the formula? It says is you need to use the formula To find out the range or to find out the interval, you need to use x bar minus ks, x bar plus ks. We know x bar and s given already, but we don't know k. To find out the k, we need to use the percentage. Okay, let us do that. By Chebyshev's theorem or Chebyshev's theorem, the minimum percentage within k standard deviation is given by 1 minus 1 over k square. So you use that 0.75 or 75% and use that formula. 1 minus 1 over k square equals to 0.75. How do I solve this for k? You subtract 0.75. What do you get? Minus 0.75. Okay, minus 0.75. You get 0.25 and then add 1 over k square on both sides. 1 over k square and then 1 over k square. If you add that, you will get 1 over k square, right? Now you solve for k. How do you do that? You just flip that. You will get 1 over 0.75 equals to, sorry, 0.25, right? 0.25 equals to k square. And take the square root of this and use calculator. You will get k equals to 2. Okay? For 75% of the data, k is 2. Now, you need to find out the range. That will be x bar minus ks, comma, x bar plus ks, right? Range or the interval equals to that formula. Now you plug the values. 50,000 is x bar minus k is 2 times s is 10,000, and 50,000 plus 2 times that. If you do that, you will get 30,000 to 70,000. What does that mean? That means in that area, the 75% of the houses price are priced between 30,000 and 70,000. That's what you can say. Analysis: at least 75% of the homes sold in that area will have a price range between 30,000 and 70,000. Okay. All right. Let us do another example. It says a survey of local companies found that the mean amount of travel allowance for executives was $0.25 per mile, 25 cents per mile, right? The standard deviation was 2 cents. Using Chebyshev's theorem, find the minimum percentage of the data values that will fall within 0.20 and 0.30. Okay, so what is given? The interval is given here, right? The interval is given as 20 cents to 30 cents. That's the interval given. Okay, 0.20 to 0.30. Also, what is given is x bar is given as 0.25 and s is given as 0.02. What is asked? Percentage is asked. Percentage equals to what, right? Because it says find the minimum percentage. So what is the formula for percentage? Formula for percentage is 1 minus 1 over k square. But what is k? K is not given, right? So k is not given. To find out k, we need to use these values, okay? The interval with k standard deviation from x bar is x bar minus ks, comma, x bar plus ks, which is given by 0.20, comma, 0.30, right? Now, what you do is you write x bar minus ks equals to 0.20, or you can do x bar plus ks equals to 0.30. Since x bar is 0.25 and s is 0.02, then x bar minus ks equals 0.2. implies k equals 2.5. Okay, so what did we do here is x bar minus ks equals to 0.2. So x bar is 0.25, right, minus k times 0.02 equals to 0.2. Okay, so what you do next is you solve for k. How do you solve for k? Is you can do subtract 0.25, you get negative 0.02 k equals to 0.05. Okay, so what do you get? Divide by negative 0.05. So if you divide by negative 0.02, negative of that, you cancel that, and then divide by negative 0.02, you get 0.02, not 0.25. You get k equals to 2.5. That's what you get. K equals 2.5. Now, using Chebyshev's theorem, the percentage must be at least 1 minus 1 over k square. That is 1 minus 1 over 2.5 square is 0.084. That is 84%. 0.84. That is 84% of the data fall between 0.20 and 0.30. 0. So let us do two more examples here. Example 8 is, let us write down the given things first. So x bar for this problem is given as 20 and then s is given as 2. At least what percentage, what is asked is percentage equals to what? Okay, is given between 12 and 28. So the interval is given as 12 and 28. So when the percentage is given, when the percentage is asked, the formula is 1 minus 1 over k square, but we don't know k, right? So we use this, similar to the previous example, we use this to find out k. So x bar minus ks comma x bar plus ks. Formula is given by, it is given as 12 and 28. So you take the first one equals to 12. X bar minus ks equals to 12, right? What is x bar? 20 minus k times 2 equals to 12. Okay, let's subtract 20. So you get, subtract 20, you get negative twice k equals to negative 8, right? You see that? 12 minus 20 is negative 8. Now divide by negative 2. What do you get? K equals to 4. So what is the percentage? Percentage will be, percentage is given as 1 minus 1 over k square, which is, what is the value of k we got? 1 minus 1 over 16, right? Because k is equals to 4. So what is 1 minus 1 over 16? You get 93.75. So 0.9375. That is same as 93.75%. That's what you get. 93.75%. Okay. So let us do example number 9. The mean age of a class is 21 years. X bar equals to 21 and standard deviation is 1.5. Find the age range of 80% of the students. So you need to find out the range. What is the range? Range is, the formula for range is x bar minus ks and x bar plus ks. But we need to find out k here. How do I find out k? You use the percentage. Okay, percentage is given as 0.88. That is 80%, right? 88%. But what is the formula for that? So this is 1 minus 1 over k square equals to 0.88. Now we need to find out k to use on this. Because on this formula we know x bar and s already. X bar and s already. We need to find out k, okay? So how do I do that? Subtract 0.88 on both sides. And add 1 over k square, okay? 0.88. And then add 1 over k square, 1 over k square. So what do you get? This will cancel with that and that will cancel with that. So you get 0.12 equals to 1 over k square. Now to solve for k square, you flip-flop, meaning you just take the reciprocal. 1 over 2.12 equals to k square. So what do you get? K square equals to, let me find out how much is 1 over 0.12. 1 divided by 0.12 is equals to 8.33. So 8.33. And how about the square root of that? So square root of 1 over 0.12 is given by 2.89. So you get k equals to 2.89. Okay, now use that formula. So the range is range is x bar minus ks will be 21 minus 2.89 times 1.5. that is the lower range of the interval, and the upper range will be 21 plus 2.89 times 1.5. that is the upper range. Okay, so let me find out that 21 minus 2.89 times 1.5. So when I use calculator to find out this, I got the range is 16.67 comma 25.34. This is the range of the age that lies within 88% from the mean. This is the final answer. Okay guys, in the next video we will talk about the measure of position. Alright, thank you.